Today on the 10-12 podcast, myself and Andy are breaking down the paths for each Big 12 team who made it into the March Madness bracket, plus our very aggressive thoughts on West Virginia not making it. I've got some bracket advice for you as well, some data and tips collected over the years. All of that coming up on the 10-12.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
USAA. Hi, I'm Matt Brown, and I run Extra Points, a newsletter that focuses on all of the off-the-field stories that shape college athletics. Right now, we're in a world where what's happening off the field matters more than ever before, between changing laws at the federal and state level, massive lawsuits that might redefine what it means to be a college athlete, the value of media rights deals, private equity, all of these other things matter so much, not just to the Big 12, but to everybody in college athletics. My entire job is to focus on all of that stuff, from expert interviews, open records requests, deeper analysis, to help you make sense of everything else going on so you can be a more informed fan. If you want to understand these things written in a way that's in plain English, not boring, and will help improve your fandom, check out Extra Points at extrapointsmb.com.
Welcome to the 10-12, the podcast that covers all 16 teams in the Big 12 Conference. We are the flagship show of the 10-12 Network. Find every show on the network at 1012network.com. And of course, we are partners with Sports Social, Europe's biggest sports podcast network. I'm your host, Phillip Slavin. Thank you for joining us on this Monday. Today, it is me and Andy Mitz, and we're talking bracket because the bracket's out. This is what everybody does. Okay, it's a thing. Now, let me emphasize, we are talking about the men's bracket today. We will have an episode on the women's bracket out later with Jamie. We just had to get schedules aligned there. So we will have a bracket for both, or we'll have an episode for both brackets. Do not worry. We will cover the men's and the women's for the Big 12. We're absolutely going to. Same way we are doing, I'm just going to get this out of the way now, bracket challenges for both the men's bracket and the women's bracket in partnership with Charlie Hustle. So you can join the 10-12 network groups on ESPN. Just look for you fill out your bracket, you look for groups. I'll have links out in the show notes. We'll have links out on social all over the place. But if you're listening to this and you don't use any of those platforms, that's fine. If you fill out a bracket on ESPN, go search for groups, 10-12 network, TEN12, the word network. It's all there. We've got a bracket for each one. We've got prizes for the top two finishers in both brackets. $75 gift card to Charlie Hustle for the winner. $25 gift card to Charlie Hustle for the runner-up. Shout out to our good friends at Charlie Hustle for helping us and for basically sponsoring this bracket challenge we're doing this year. Very excited about this. So make sure that you join the 10-12 network group. Get your bracket in there. You might as well. Look, you can just say, this is my bracket, the best one I got it on ESPN. You can enter a bracket into as many groups as you want. Like, you don't have to be like, this bracket's for this group and this bracket. No, I got one bracket. I'm going to put it in as many groups as I can. So that's what the plan is. And so make sure yours is in the 10-12 network group on ESPN. You could win $75 to Charlie Hustle or $25 to Charlie Hustle if you fill out a men's or a women's bracket. So go do it now. If you've got it filled out, go ahead, find the group. Well, again, links in the show notes, links on social, but I want to tell you here now, it's really easy to do if you don't follow us on any of those platforms or you just don't use any of those platforms. I'll drop in the Discords. I know you Wide Right 90 Light fans who listen and cheer and talk to us in the Discord. I appreciate it. And the Give 'em Hell Brigham Discord and the Softball 365 Discord and all the other Discords that I hop into and chat in as much as possible. We see you guys. I love it. Appreciate it. So thanks for listening. And we're going to talk about the men's bracket today because that's out. Andy, I made sure that Andy and I didn't spend too much pre-show time talking about it because I want this as fresh and unregurgitated as possible. Let's start with the thing that we had to start with. West Virginia did not make it into the tournament. I thought they were fine after the loss to Colorado in the Big 12 tournament. In fact, everyone thought they were fine out of 111 bracketologists who make brackets before the tournament. And the bracket matrix gobbles up and lists out 111, which is all of them, had West Virginia in their projected field. West Virginia, of course, is not in the projected field. They were a unanimous selection in all the pre-announcement brackets. First time ever a unanimous selection has ever missed the dance. Okay? Let me remind you, 111 brackets. West Virginia was in 111 of them. Indiana, who's in the tournament, was in 90. Texas, who's in the tournament, got 50. Xavier, who is in the tournament, was in 30. North Carolina is in the tournament. Play-in team. They were in 27 projected brackets at Bracket Matrix before the field was announced. And West Virginia was in 111. Well, that's what you get. They don't know anything. No. These are very, very smart people who pay attention to history. They pay attention to numbers. They pay attention to metrics. They use a lot of different data to input into there to come up with their brackets. And they all said West Virginia should be in this field. West Virginia is going to be in this field. They were all wrong. Why? Because the committee. Here is the theme of the night. Help me understand, people. Why is it that when the Big 12 is the best conference in the country, multiple years
by far,
they don't get the benefit of the doubt? The argument's always, well, everybody's net rankings and everybody's numbers just look good because they all play each other and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When the ACC was the best conference in the country for years, they always got the benefit of the doubt. The one earmuffs, kids, time that the SEC is the best conference of men's basketball that has ever existed in all of time and history, they get the benefit of the doubt. But when the Big 12 is the best, there is no benefit of the doubt. There is always some negativity and some complaints and some argument against the Big 12. But when it's the ACC or the SEC, yep, just go ahead on. Just go ahead. 14 teams from the SEC. 14 out of a 16-team conference. Oklahoma was in comfortably, not even last four in, they went 6-12 in conference play. I repeat that. Oklahoma went 6-12 in conference play, wasn't even among the last four in. That SEC team that was among the last four in, because they beat A&M in the rivalry game in the SEC tournament. Texas also 6-12 in conference play. 6-12. Andy.
Yeah, not only that, Oklahoma outperformed all the projections by a full seed line. Like, you look at average, everyone thought, oh, they'd be a 10. Like, I thought that was high based off of their resume. But, the thing to remember is that all of these bracketologists, it is not their job to determine who they think deserves to be in. Their job is to replicate what they think the committee is going to do based off of what the committee has done in the past and what the committee has stated is the criteria. So when you have an overwhelming, and well, I guess unanimous is definitely overwhelming number of people that say this team should be in the tournament, not only be in the tournament, but be in the tournament comfortably. It's shocking the fact that West Virginia got left out. I mean, I don't understand. I understand that, like, yeah, that looked bad, that lost to Colorado. But guess what? Colorado, was a team that gave people some problems, especially late. They were playing a lot better. And, I mean, they were extremely competitive against Houston for a while, too. So, like, the way that they were playing, it's not necessarily that surprising with a team in West Virginia who, struggled a little bit to get to the finish line, but felt like they had done enough. And yeah, that's not an excuse to like lay down in your conference tournament, but West Virginia didn't do that. Like, they had a bad game, and apparently that one bad game is what kept them out of the tournament. Just extreme. Like, I am a big proponent of saying that you can't point to one small thing. But this definitely feels like a systematic, ESPN has the SEC for everything now. They are the flagship of ESPN. They're the flagship conference. And
but CBS owns the tournament. I don't even buy that. Like, yeah, they do the bracket reveal, but like, I don't even buy that. I don't understand this. I don't get it. But
think about it.
Is the narrative has been sold year that the SEC is the greatest conference that has ever existed on the face of the earth this year.
That's what I'm saying, though, right? Like,
and I stop. Like, fine, okay. Let's play the devil's advocate here. Let's do this. Okay, they are. Let's say they are. Let's absolutely say they are the best men's basketball conference this year ever. Here's the problem. You still don't get in the tournament with a 6-12 conference standing comfortably. And I don't want to hear, well, look at some of the teams they've beat. Your non-conference strength of schedule, something that gets knocked against Big 12 teams every year when the conference is awesome. Oklahoma's is 319, Texas is 349, and they're in. Over West Virginia, 137. Well, that's not very good. 137 versus 349. Do some math, folks. That's 200 spots worse for Texas. And they weren't even the last team in. That's North Carolina. This SEC circle jerk bull. Oh my! And here's the problem: the precedent has now been set that the ACC is going to get the benefit of the doubt, as they always have, and of course North Carolina. How could you leave North Carolina out of the tournament? Now the SEC is going to get the benefit of the doubt because this is this horse shit. Folks, don't listen to this one with the kids. I'm sorry. If you don't want to listen on the way to work or on the way home, forgive you. Andy, I know that no one can see your camera but me, but it's losing its ever-loving mind.
Yeah, it does when people get upset.
But the Big 12, who's the best conference in college basketball for like 7 years in a row, and a few years of those absolutely comfortably, has not gotten a benefit of the doubt to the level the SEC did this year or that the ACC ever has in any season. What the hell does the Big 12 have to do across all of college athletics to not be treated in the way that it is? What have we done wrong? What is it? What is the deal here? Like what?
Not only that, but in past years, the conversation going into, going into Selection Sunday was, well, there's no way that this is, this Big 12 conference should get the most ever in terms of the number of bids, and especially when they only have 10 teams, right? Like they use the number of teams as a reason why they shouldn't get the highest number, and it's like, oh well, this is it's just. But then to turn around, coming into this seat, like halfway through the season, the question wasn't, does the SEC have a chance to get the most teams ever in the tournament? It was, how many more are they going to get than what the previous record was? The fact that it's been a foregone conclusion for so long means that, yeah, you knew this was going to happen. And it's extremely unfortunate. Like, North Carolina is a team that deserved, I think, you look at their resume, probably deserved to be in the tournament. They didn't do themselves any favors down the stretch.
What? No. They're 1-12 in quad.
No. Okay. But no. If your argument is advanced analytics, right? Because they're comfortably above a lot of the other at-large teams. And they had the number 7 out of conference strength of schedule. So like, you can point to very specific things that say, based off of the metrics that we seem to be using, they have a much stronger case than like a Texas or a lot of the other teams.
36 in the quad, 33rd on Ken Pom.
So I'm not upset about North Carolina being in, because yes, they have that huge black mark, right? Like
I am.
If it's North Carolina over West Virginia, yes, I agree. West Virginia should have been in. But if it's like North Carolina over Texas, that absolutely should have happened. I feel like this is a case of, all of the things that the committee has said in the last 10 years is important to make it to the tournament is now all of a sudden being thrown out the window because, oh, guess what? We added 2 new analytical measures. And so now that means that we can do whatever the hell we want. And that's my problem. It's not that like if this is the way that it always was, right? Like you figure out you have the best conference, you have a lot of teams that are really good that play fairly well in the conference, but they take a lot of losses because they're against other quality teams. If that was the paradigm you established, then this would make sense. But they specifically said, we do not look at conferences when we're evaluating teams. We don't take into account the number of teams from a particular conference, and we don't give you a benefit or an extra benefit for playing in a better conference. They've also said, we're not going to reward a school that has a terrible record against quad 1 that has 15 opportunities to win against quad 1.
Because it ups your numbers, because it makes your numbers look better.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not the only one that had a really ridiculous, like you look at, just compared to where the expectation was, Memphis, I think, was a team that was just like, they were a full 2 seed or almost, 2.5 seed lines above what the expectation was for them. They were projected at 6.78 on average. They ended up getting a 5. You look at a few of these other teams. I don't know. Louisville got an 8, and a lot of people thought they were going to be, a 6 or better. I mean, it seems like everything is all over the place. And look, Louisville lost in the ACC championship. Like, what else could they have done other than win a championship, and they still got an 8?
I don't.
It just tells, like, I understand the biggest gripe is about Big 12 teams, but this feels to me like the whole system itself is broken.
And look, I should have done this research beforehand. Who's on the committee? Is it a new committee? Are they new people this year? Is it a bunch of new faces of people who are like, oh, I don't know about college basketball. I'm here because I need to be on a committee.
Nope. No, it's I believe I think there's 12 members on the committee. I think that number sounds right. But I believe they said that there was only like 4 new members.
Apparently those 4 new members had a major impact on how this all shaped out.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. And look, there's complaints every year, but like, I feel like the last few years I haven't had to complain too hard because for the most part, it's been like, okay, I can, this year's bullshit.
Right. It's like in prior years, there have been differences of opinion.
Yes.
But ultimately it came down to how much do you weigh, two very similar or 2 wildly different, like one person has a really good in one metric and the other team is really bad, and vice versa on some other metric that's super important. This year, it seems like all of the very important metrics that they have stated in the past are super important, indicate that certain teams shouldn't have even been considered for the tournament, and yet they made it in comfortably.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pop, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
All right, so let's look at the bracket itself. Let's look at the paths of the Big 12 teams who did get in to making it to the Final Four, and we'll go as far as that. Let's start over in the South, where we have one team, 3 seed Iowa State. They'll open up against Lipscomb, play the winner of 6 seed Ole Miss versus
the play-in
of San Diego State, North Carolina. Allow me to remind you all one very important thing when filling out your brackets. Since the first 4 began, every year but one of these first 4 teams has made it to the second round. Every year but one. A first 4 team has made it to the second round. So just keep that in mind when filling out your brackets, because it happens every single year. I think it was 2 years ago where the Big 12 had to face 2 first 4 play-ins and both lost. So just a heads up, That's a thing.
Good
Okay?
luck,
That's a thing.
Illinois and Ole Miss.
Oh, Ole Miss screams getting upset by San Diego State. I'm sorry, North Carolina. Find a way. So Iowa State. Looking at now, we've got Circus Sports has put up their numbers for the first round games. At the moment, Iowa State is a drum roll as I scroll through this and try and find the thing. It's really hard to just look at a graphic
Control
on
F.
a screen. I can't control F.
Oh, is
I
it
don't
just
think I can do
pictures?
It's a picture, so it's not a
Oh,
list. I
man.
can't. It's not a list. It's an image. Let's see. First round, first four.
that's awful.
Why can't I? And I can't. This is good. This is good podcasting. This is the spot where people start just being like, "All right, thanks, Phillip. I'm a bounce." There it is. Iowa State's a 13.5-point favorite over Lipscomb on Circa at time of the numbers opening. I would expect Iowa State to win this game. I'm gonna pick whichever 11 seed comes out of that play-in to knock off Ole Miss. I mean, I would also pick the one that comes out of the other one to knock off Illinois because that'd be hilarious. But I would say Iowa State plays a play-in team and finds themselves in a Sweet 16 matchup against probably 2 seed Michigan State. So which is going to be a tough one the way Michigan State's playing this year. Andy, looking at the South, it's the only Big 12 team we have. Overall, what are your thoughts on this part of the bracket?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the other two seeds that they could potentially have to face, and I'm going to be honest. Like, yes, Michigan State's been playing really, really well. I think matchup wise, that's probably the best opportunity for Iowa State to advance into the Elite Eight. Just the way that the Michigan State plays, with the way that they play inside. I do think that Iowa State's outside game can really give them an opportunity to be very strong in that game. Whereas a team like, Alabama, like that was just going to be a shootout, and whoever happens to be the hottest that day is going to win. So, like, if you're looking for matchup wise, I think it's the best opportunity. That being said, it's still going to be a very tough matchup for them. But I do agree. Like, I have a hard time not seeing them make it to the second weekend. The question then becomes, are they going to be able to get past Michigan State? I personally, in my bracket, have them making it past them with a rematch against Auburn. But I do think part of that's just that, well, one, a little bit of Big 12 bias because, we have to. But also,
we want to this year, especially. We want.
Of course. But also just the fact that, I do think that Michigan State's probably a little bit overrated. I did watch the way that they played, in the Big Ten tournament, and I don't know that I was necessarily as impressed as a lot of people seem to be. Like, yes, they're a very good team, but they're not the far and away best team in the Big Ten like a lot of people thought they were.
I'll say this: it's going to matter a lot about Iowa State's health. If they're healthy, they can go. They can make a run to the Final Four. If they're not healthy, like they could lose second round. Like, I'm not picking them to get upset by Lipscomb. I'm not. Okay, I'm not going to do that in my bracket. If it happens, that's fine. But it's just a matter of health. If they are healthy, if everyone can be 100%, and I think it was wise of them to hold out with Lipsy in the Big 12 tournament. And I know they lost to BYU.
And KG as well, yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of shock. Well, it was shocking to hold out Lipsy because they, like, never hold him out.
Right.
Like, they just let him play, and it was like, no. Like, and they made the right call. I know they lost to BYU.
They held him out,
they made the right call.
And they didn't lose by a lot. Like,
no.
They still played really well against BYU.
If Iowa State is healthy,
yep.
If they are as fingers crossed as close to 100% as possible, and they can get past Lipscomb fairly easily, then I feel very good about their chances to make a Final Four run there.
I am extremely excited about the opportunity for Iowa State to get that rematch against Auburn for a chance at the Final Four.
Of all the Big 12 teams outside of Houston, I think I'm most confident in Iowa State, just based off of
which I hate to put it out there, but that means they're going to get upset in the first round.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's move over to the West. I don't want to hear Florida's the 1 seed here. St. John's is the 2. Kansas is the 7. You know them. Texas Tech is the 3 in this one. We'll start with Kansas. Kansas is open up against Arkansas, one of those teams with a look. I I like Arkansas. I root for Arkansas. I live in Arkansas. I'm married to people who like Arkansas. I have a lot of friends who like Arkansas. I'm not an anti-Arkansas person at all. Please understand that. At least they finished 8-10 in conference play. They kind of turned things around late. They lost that ridiculous game to Ole Miss in the SEC tournament on a
Arkansas feels like a team to me that in any other year would be squarely on the bubble and wondering if they're going to be the last team in.
Yes, except this year because you're in the SEC, you auto bid, all auto bids.
Right. I do not.
Go ahead.
Well, I was to say, I feel Kansas is a decent sized favorite against Arkansas in this game, and I think rightfully so. But you also cannot tell me that you look at those 4 teams that are there in that little mini tournament there, that they do not go hunting for storylines. Because look at that storyline. You've got Self versus Calipari again in the first round.
Yep.
And then, hey, guess what? Whoever advances from there gets probably to play Patino. It's like, we want to throw all of the Hall of Fame coaches into a single tiny little pod.
Yeah.
And then you look at on the other side, it's, the winner of Texas Tech and Missouri, assuming of course both teams make it. Like there's all kinds of juicy matchups there, like Texas Tech playing against Kansas again, Big 12, matchup there. It's kind of ridiculous that, the way they have all this set up. And by the way, the other issue with having 14 SEC teams in there is that you break a ton of bracketing principles. Like the fact that you have, a Big 12 matchup here between Kansas and Texas Tech, potentially in the Sweet 16, when normally they would need to be on opposite sides of the bracket.
You have Florida and Oklahoma potentially matching up in the second round.
Yeah,
Florida's the 1, Oklahoma's the 9 versus UConn, and the winners of those 2 games meet in round 2.
Yep.
If OU beats UConn, there's a guaranteed SEC. It's all again, earmuffs, kids. It's all bullshit.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is not only like they could have made it as bad as possible for the SEC, or they could have limited all of the conflicts to the SEC because they have so many freaking teams.
Yeah.
Instead, they've messed with all of the other conferences as well.
Yes.
Because why the heck not?
Yes. I'll be honest here. Kansas, Ken Palm. I had too many different names in my head. Circa has Kansas as a 4.5-point favorite at time of recording this. That dropped it. That tweet came out at 7:56 p.m. So understand.
And if you look at if you look at the live odds right now, as we're actually recording it, not when it opened. Last I saw it was at 5.5.
I mean, ESPN's bracket, which has the lines on the bracket itself, still has Kansas at 4.5.
Okay.
I don't. I'm going to be honest here.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest here. I don't think Kansas could beat Arkansas. I don't see them in the second week, Sweet 16. I'm sorry.
Right. It would legitimately be an upset for Kansas to beat St. John's. Like it's not a situation of, and I guess really what it comes down to just is, is Kansas going to have multiple 3-point shooters get hot? Or is Hunter Dickinson going to go, 7 of 8 from the 3-point line like he did in the Big 12 tournament?
There you go. Okay, so Texas Tech opens up against UNC Wilmington. They are a 15.5-point favorite according to ESPN. According to Circa, 16-point favorite. So similar lines there. Get past UNC Wilmington. I used to be really good at remembering all these little small teams like names, and Seahawks. Oh, sweet. Love it. Winner of that faces the winner of Missouri and Drake.
Give me Drake.
That's really funny that Missouri and Drake, 2 teams that aren't located that far from each other, are playing where?
Wichita.
In Wichita. So 2 teams within close proximity are literally playing in Wichita. Yes. Beautiful. Brilliant. Love it. Yeah, I like that 11/6. 11/6s are always fun. I hold on. Wow. What are your thoughts on Texas Tech situation here? Well, I pull up some of my old, my bracket data I've got every year. Go ahead.
Yeah. Texas Tech, their defense is going to win them a lot of games. I think that they are in a really good spot here. Again, this is like if you had swapped them and Iowa State, I don't think it works out nearly as well for either of them. But you look at the potential matchups along the way, and I do think that Texas Tech has a decent path for the way that they play. Obviously, you would prefer to have a Drake in there as opposed to a Missouri, just because I think that matchup is a little bit better. But I'm going to be honest as well. I think Texas Tech beats either of them. And then you have a potential look, against a St. John's, or if, Kansas or Arkansas happens to upset them. Either way, that looks good for Texas Tech to be able to advance for the Elite Eight and potentially playing who knows who comes out of that, that top part of the West. Like, you could have a Memphis team that supposedly is red hot, even without their best player. You could have a Maryland who has been playing really well in the Big Ten, but has had a few hiccups. You could have UConn getting super hot again, or you could have Florida. Like, there's 4 legitimate teams that could come out there potentially to face Texas Tech. The only team that I think gives Texas Tech problems there is actually Maryland. Like, I think Florida's a good team, but they've had so many ups and downs, and I think that the Texas Tech pressure would really get to them. I think Maryland is probably the one team coming out of that is potentially going to be able to handle what Texas Tech does defensively. So I actually have a Maryland Texas Tech Elite Eight there. I don't know yet who I'm going to pick to go to the Final Four.
Okay, so remember, every round, every year since 2019, when the first 4 started, every year except 2019, the first 4 team has reached the round of 32 at least. So just a reminder there. It happens. It happens. It does. And 11s over 6s. People love 11s over 6s. Last year we got what? We got Oregon over South Carolina. We got NC State over Texas Tech. I remember that one. We got Duquesne over BYU. Oh, Big 12. Oh, Big 12. Don't do last year all over again. Look, I like Texas Tech's path. I do. I say that this is a good Florida team. It really is. And when they want to be like nasty, like, it is a really good team. Like UConn, OU, cool. Memphis, Colorado State, Maryland, awesome. Like, if we get a Texas Tech to the Final Four, like, they're gonna have to go through Florida. To me, I think
that's
fair. I think Florida's really good this year. I like Texas Tech here to at least get the Sweet 16. St. John's matchup, which I think is what they're going to end up with, is going to be a tough draw if they do. I think they can get the Sweet 16. I like them over Missouri. It's just a matter of, they can't do what they did last year. Like, that defense is awesome, but they have to hit shots. You can play great defense all day. If you can't hit shots, it's not going to matter. And so we got to see if the offense can deliver this year in a way it didn't last year. So I've got Kansas out probably. Look, I think I probably got Kansas out in the first round. I just don't love this Kansas team, Andy. I'm really sorry.
No, that's fair.
I don't.
I would not be shocked. Like, that's one of those things. I am preparing for that likelihood, honestly.
What I need is every Big 12 team makes it out of the first round.
I agree.
And then give me a few Sweet 16s, at least one Final Four. And
I'm all for the Big 12 teams don't lose unless it's to other Big 12 teams. Let's just go with that.
Okay. I'll take it.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
No, it won't. You won't lose if you go to Charlie Hustle. Again, helping us with our bracket challenge this year. They are going to have bracket buster deals all week long. Every day is a new one, just so you're aware. Some new great deal every day. Limited. You missed Sundays, okay? We'll just buy one, get one 50% off on all fleece, and they've got great fleece. Great fleece. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen, they dropped their Houston Cougar Big 12 Champ t-shirt, and it is awesome. It is awesome. The championship tees they've been dropping. The one for Houston for men's basketball, the one for TCU for men's basketball, the one for Oklahoma State for wrestling have been fantastic. Find it all at charliehustle.com. Here's the deal buster schedule for the week. Save on bomber jackets on Monday, college tees on Tuesday, college raglans on Wednesday, varsity jackets on Thursday, and Friday through Sunday is the, quote, finale collegiate mystery sale. They got some mysteries. Okay? So,
ooh, mysterious.
Hop in the mystery machine, call up your best friend if he had a dog or a shark or some other sleuth mystery solving animal, and head on over to charliehustle.com. Check out all the incredible Big 12 gear that they have. If it's on sale, fantastic. If it's not, remember our promo code 1012network, TEN12, the word network, gets you 15% off all non-sale items. Okay? Fantastic deal. Absolutely great. They've got great stuff. Oh, they really do. And they've been throwing out so much good new stuff. The dunk tees are awesome. Like I said, the championship tees are incredible. Everything is super comfortable. So go to charliehustle.com, do some shopping, 1012 Network for 15% off all non-sale items. Don't forget to enter our bracket challenge. You could win $75 or $25 to Charlie Hustle just by entering your bracket. All you gotta do is enter your bracket on ESPN to join our group. It's that simple. It's not hard to do. You're already going to fill out a bracket. Might as well just join the group, 1012 Network, okay? Charlie Hustle, vintage, made fresh. Let's go through the other half of the bracket here, Andy. We are in the Midwest, where Houston is the 1 seed, and I have to say the Big 12's hopes are riding really high on Houston, and I mean really high and hard on Houston, and I don't think they were given. They have what is, to me, the toughest bracket as the 1. And it's crap because Tennessee is a good 2.
I think they have the toughest top 4.
Gonzaga and Georgia as a second, Gonzaga or Georgia as a second round game is tough. It is. It's a tough second round game. Clemson's a really good 5. Illinois, upset. Kentucky is a 3. Tennessee is a 2. Like it's a Purdue is a 4. Like, I think they got a really tough draw. I do. But here's the deal. I'm riding Houston all the way. I have to. I want to. I need Houston to cut down the nets for national champs. I love the Big 12 as a whole. Houston is our best shot at the Big 12 winning a national championship this year. I wholeheartedly believe it. So I'm riding with Houston. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. Straight to the national champion. Here's Houston, and then I'll fill out the rest of the bracket. Okay? Houston. Just put it to the theme of Hot to Go. Houston.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I think this is I think this is by far the most difficult top 4. Like, even though you look at like like they looked at the S curve and all this other stuff and said that the South was, but I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't think Texas A&M matches up as well, or I think that Purdue's better than Texas A&M. I think that Kentucky's probably on par with Iowa State. I think Tennessee's better than Michigan State, and Houston I think is again on par with Auburn. So you look at that, I believe that that's probably like, and especially if you're talking about the matchups for the number 1, I think Houston has the most potential pitfalls. Luckily for them, they don't have to face both Kentucky and Tennessee. But this is the bracket that feels to me like the most likely to go chalk for the vast majority of it. I mean, I have Houston versus Purdue in the Sweet 16, and I have Kentucky versus Tennessee in the Sweet 16 as well. I have Houston over Tennessee going to the Final Four in this one. So I agree. I do think that the Gonzaga Georgia matchup is a difficult one, but I do think the way that Houston plays defense is going to help them against both of those teams.
I think the way Houston plays basketball.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, their defense, honestly, I think is going to do a lot for them in this tournament because there's not a lot of teams that are used to playing against defense of that caliber. I will also say that I think McNeese is probably a sneaky upset pick over Clemson. Like, Clemson is one of those teams that like they feel like the runaway 5 that a lot of people think are going to go pretty far. And McNeese is one of those sneaky teams that just somehow comes up with big upsets a lot.
The Midwest just feels like, oh, this is a chalky bracket. Nope.
Right.
Nope.
This is the chalky bracket that's going to have a 12 and the 11 that comes, and it's going to have like a 15 Wofford or something like that. That's going to make it to the Sweet 16.
Here's the thing to note about. I have a bunch of bracket notes that I've tried to track through the last few years. I'll save some of these. Let's finish these paths and then we'll save the bracket notes. Let's save the bracket notes. Yeah, looking at this one, like this is the one where I'm like 1-2. I may be wrong, but I will take Houston, Tennessee.
It's hard to see something else definitive that you think is very likely.
Yeah. All right. So let's move up to Houston, round one. 29-point favorite over SIU Edwards.
That's
I don't
a pretty
like
good number.
anybody by that. Yeah, ESPN has it listed as 28.5. Okay. Up to the East, where we have 9 seed Baylor, 6 seed BYU. Now, look, I thought BYU was probably going to get about a 5 or 6. I've loved that they were going to get a 5 or 6. I love the way they've been playing. They've been one of the hottest teams in the country. We talk about, okay, which one is the graphic I need to, or the site I need to pull up? I'm going to do, is it Bart Torvik? I think I need Bart Torvik. Yes, I need Bart Torvik. Where's old Bart?
Oh, okay.
You talk while I search. You talk while I search.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, BYU, I think, got the best possible draw as a number 6 seed because I feel like they are the perfect kind of team with how 3-point dominant or how 3-point reliant they are, and just the way that they play. That you would that they would be a trendy pick as being upset by a play-in game. And I don't want them to go anywhere near Drake. Like I think that Drake is a team that is playing really well. And is not one that you want to play. Like they are that every single year it's like oh man, this team is way underseeded. They probably should have been an 8, but because they're from a tiny little conference or a conference that gets no respect. So like I think BYU probably has the best matchup. I don't know that I'm that scared of VCU for them. Again, because of the way that they play. I also have BYU upsetting Wisconsin in the second round. So look, Wisconsin's been good, but I just don't know that BYU is very dependent on that 3-point barrage, and they seem to get hot all the time. Like you never know when they're going to get hot, and like they'll have a 5-minute or maybe even a 10-minute stretch where they just don't hit the 3 very well, but they can easily make up for that with the rest of the game. I do unfortunately think that they're going to have problems against Alabama because Alabama is a similar sort of team, very, very hot from 3. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for BYU to out Alabama.
Okay, so come on. Filter.
So I guess what I'm saying is if you're BYU, you really want to root for St. Mary's.
I think I'm a little bit higher on VCU than you. I think it's a little bit of a tougher draw. I think Wisconsin is Wisconsin to me is very much a team. Oh, I forgot Arizona is in this one too.
Yep.
Wisconsin's very much a team to me that could make the Final Four. This is the bracket I had. This is the section of the bracket I had the hardest time with. It's like Alabama, I could see making a deep run. I can see Wisconsin making the deep run. We know how good Arizona is. We know that Duke is really good this year. Like put BYU in the West. Put BYU somewhere else, and I see BYU on a deep run. I think BYU still can make a deep run. I just think this is going to be a really tough bracket to make a deep run in for BYU. Now, if they're hitting shots, if they're hitting the deep shots, they are set. They're going to be good. Now, look, I want to pull up Bart Torvik. At this point, since they lost to Houston in the Big 12 tournament, they were finally it updated. Thank you. Since BYU started its run back on February 11th when they won at West Virginia, they're the number 5 team in the country, according to Bart Torvik. Behind Duke, Houston, Florida, Auburn, and there's BYU. Then it's Alabama, Gonzaga. That's what I'm talking about for Houston, the Gonzaga, Georgia situation. Michigan State, Maryland, Texas Tech, Iowa State. That's your top 11. Okay, so Houston is number 2, BYU is number 5, Texas Tech's number 10, Iowa State's number 11. So you got 4 Big 12 teams in the top 11. BYU has been so good. Has been on such a run. And look, I get it. It wasn't a close game to Houston. Houston's playing absolutely lights out. And some of that stuff doesn't matter. Some of that stuff, it's a whole new thing. You can't guarantee that runs and trends are going to carry over to the tournament. The BYU's been really good. I just think it's a really hard bracket because Duke's really good. Like Duke and Alabama are the 1 and 2. Duke's been the best team on Bart Torvik since the same time period. Alabama's been the 6th best team. in that same time. Like, it's a really tough bracket for BYU to try and make a deep run in. Can they? Absolutely, with the way they've been playing. Absolutely. I just think it's going to be tough. I think VCU is a tough draw. BYU is currently a 2.5-point favorite, according to ESPN's number. Circa has them as a 3-point favorite. So I think it's a tough first round.
I will say, though, I think more than anyone, especially Big 12-wise, BYU is probably the one team where it doesn't necessarily matter as much who they play. It's how they play. Because if BYU is hot from three, I don't know that anyone can beat them.
No, if they're hot from three, we're going to have a run. If they can stay hot from three. I just, like, I think they get past round one. But, like, I thought that last year. I just don't know. I'm a new coaching staff, new everything. We'll see. Like, I think BYU, I just think it's tough. I like Wisconsin. I think it's going to be a tough one for BYU to get past. I definitely have a hard time seeing them get past Alabama. But so, like, a Sweet 16 run is, to me, the best BYU is probably going to do. Unless they just get in a 3-point shootout with Alabama and outshoot them. Arizona's the 4 seed here. They open with Akron. Arizona is a 13.5-point favorite over on ESPN's bracket. Circa has them as a 13.5-point favorite at Circa. I love making sound effects. If they get past Akron, they'll face the winner of Oregon and Liberty. Of course, Duke is the 1 seed here, and we'll talk about Baylor in just a second. Arizona, Oregon in a Pac-12 rematch between the Big 12 and the Big 10 out in the East. And this one's where Climate Pillage Arena. Where the Climate Pillage Arena? Why does ESPN not have? Oh, it's in Seattle. Oh,
oof.
Ugh. Oregon's going to be in Seattle as the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
How is it Oregon always seems to get to play as close to home as possible whenever they're a lower seed situation? Anyways, I think we're bound for an Arizona-Oregon second-round matchup, and I don't care if it's in Seattle. I think Arizona's going to Sweet 16. I feel very comfortable with Arizona Sweet 16. I think Duke's going to be tough. Obviously, it depends on just how healthy Cooper Flagg is. It's been a good Duke team.
Yep. No, I agree. I have Arizona making it past Liberty and then Oregon. Sorry, Arizona making it past Akron and then Oregon. I was looking at the Oregon-Liberty matchup. And then, I'm concerned about if Baylor can even make it past Mississippi State, and they have no shot against Duke. So I have Duke, Arizona. It's actually funny because I have this one going somewhat chalk at the end there. I have Duke over Arizona. I have Alabama over BYU. And again, that's me assuming that BYU is going to have, a game against Wisconsin where they're hitting a bunch of threes. So
Duke, Bama, or Wisconsin are coming out of this one for me. I'm sorry. I want it to be someone else.
Yep.
I want it to be Arizona.
I have Duke coming out of here, and it's just hard to see, especially if we're looking for Big 12. I don't see a Big 12 team that can handle what Duke's doing.
I wish. God, I wish BYU was the 6th seed somewhere else.
Yep, agreed.
I wish. I mean, it would require some other Big 12 teams moving around. Like, I wish they were the 6th seed in the Midwest in Houston's. Like, I get why BYU's out west. They're in the East. I wish that BYU.
I know. I would have loved to see them switch Missouri and Drake with BYU, VCU, and then Kansas and Arkansas with St. Mary's and Vanderbilt.
3 seed Texas Tech potentially versus 6 seed BYU. Again,
okay, fine. Well, then move Texas Tech as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I wish BYU was in a different spot. I think they can make I think you can have a couple of. There's potential for 2 Big 12 teams in the Sweet 16 in this one. I would lean towards Arizona as a yes, and I have a hard time with BYU. Baylor, no. Like, even with a 75% Cooper Flagg, like, no. Yeah, I've got Houston winning the whole thing. I think Iowa State's got the best shot of another Big 12 team in the Final Four. And I like Texas Tech's path to make a deep run as well. And obviously, but other than that, like, I like BYU. I like Arizona. I just think their paths are really hard, and I have a hard time seeing it.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll look at your returns from the last 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed for free.
I could get money back from last year?
You could. We'll find any mistakes.
Could have really used that 2 years ago when I dated that mistake for 5 months.
Don't leave money on the table. Switch to H&R Block and get a free second look review. Second look is included at no additional cost with the purchase of tax preparation. Results vary. All tax situations are different. Fees apply if you have us file an amended return.
So let's run through some of my bracket notes that I've been accumulating for quite some time. We've already discussed. First four has reached a round of 32 every year except for 2019. Number 2, Auburn is undefeated in the first round since the tournament expanded to 64 teams in 1985. They're a 1 seed playing a 16-team play-in. I know it's fun to pick a 16 seed upset. I'm not going to do it with Auburn this year. Here's one to keep an eye on. Double-digit P5 teams are 16-5 in the first round since 2019. And I think that includes... I can't remember if I updated this one after last year or not. When is this? I have last year's bracket. Here we go. Let's say it's not. Let's say that I didn't update it after last year's. Let's look at double-digit seeded power conference teams in the tournament last year. We had 1, NC State over Texas Tech. There's 1. Colorado was a 10 seed. They beat Florida. Oregon was 11 seed. They upset South Carolina. That's all of your double-digit seeded P4 teams, power conference teams, last year. They all pulled off the upset win. Beware of double-digit seeded power conference teams in the tournament, Kansas. It's just a thing. Like, it just is. Kansas has to play 10 seed Arkansas. That is
I feel
situation.
personally attacked here.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Other ones to look out for. I know, but like, if North Carolina beats San Diego State, North Carolina's playing Ole Miss. Look out, Ole Miss. Now you've got 2 things going against you because you've got a first 4 team and a double-digit seeded Ole Miss. If North Carolina wins the first 4 game, Ole Miss,
you might
is
as well
done.
just not show up.
They are done. Done. They're done. They're not going to win. The same problem for Texas. Texas is 11 seed. If they win their first game, sorry, Illinois. And then everyone's like, see, Texas deserved to be here, which is not how it works. Not how it works. So watch out for Texas, North Carolina, because trends are trends, okay? Trends are trends. Vanderbilt's a 10 seed against 17 St. Mary's. All right? Those are the only ones I see. Those are the only ones. There's not usually a lot. You don't usually get a lot of double-digit seeded power conference teams, but when you get a double-digit seeded power conference team, be careful of them, okay? 7 of the previous 11 years, a 15 seed has defeated a number 2 seed. Again, I can't remember if I updated these after last year. Now I feel bad that I'm giving information that may not be entirely accurate, but it's still a point of like 15s to beat 2s. It does happen. I'm not going to pick one because I don't know which one I would pick. What is the least likely 15 over 2 you would pick, and what is the first one you would pick?
I would not go anywhere near Robert Morris over Alabama.
Agreed.
The most likely one,
but it's not the one I would pick. The one I would never touch is Wofford over Tennessee.
That's fair.
Because if Bama is cold from 3 for some reason,
that's fair.
That's how upsets happen. Okay.
I think for me, the one that's most likely is St. John's losing to Omaha.
Yeah, see, I actually went with Brian over Michigan State. It makes so much more sense to see like a Michigan State get upset as a 2 seed than an Ohio State.
No, that's fair.
Let's see. Since 2011, at least one 7 seed or lower has made it to the Final Four, except for 2019. So 2013, a 5 seed or worse has made the Final Four. So since 2011, at least one 7 seed or lower has made it to the Final Four, except for 2019. Let's go look at last year's bracket to make sure I still have that right. Last year's Final Four were... Who do we have?
I don't think we did last year.
No.
Oh, wait, who?
It was NC State.
Oh, yeah, duh.
So this still holds. All right? This still holds. Since 2011, at least one 7 seed or lower has made it to the Final Four, except for 2019. And since 2013, a 5 seed or lower has made the Final Four. Boom, shakalaka-laka-laka.
Oh, man, Kansas going to the Final Four. That's a 7
No, because they're playing Alabama, or they're playing Arkansas, so they're screwed. So let's look at the brackets then, okay? Let's do this. You have to pick, we'll do it the easier one. 5 seed or worse. Pick a team who's a 5 seed or worse to make the Final Four.
Oh gosh.
I mean, see, this is easier because 5 seed's easier. Like, I'm giving you a lot of teams to choose from. Would you like to do that one, or would you like to do 7 seed or lower?
Well, here, let me look first. 5 seed or worse. Okay. I mean, the one that jumps out to me is Michigan for 5 seed or lower. Like, I think that Michigan is a team that can get extremely hot. You know what? Actually, no. The most likely one would be BYU because they just go on a tear.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That's the only way I actually see a team that is 5 seed or worse making it is if BYU just goes like 60% from 3 for the tournament and makes it to the Final Four.
I like that. It's gonna be Clemson because you trash talked them already.
Probably, but you know what? Oh well.
Oh God, worst case scenario, it's Missouri as a 6 seed.
No. Missouri has never made the Final Four, and that is going to be true until the end of time.
All right, I'm gonna take the 7 seed or lower because it's happened every year but one, right? So let's look at this. Who's the most fun one I can take? Oh God, you want to know the most fun one I could take is? No, I hate to do this. I hate it. It is actually like Arkansas.
No, that's not the most fun one.
Is it not? But like
Drake.
Oh, ooh, oh, yeah, that's good. No, that's good. It doesn't.
I mean, they're what? They're what? 30 and 4. Like, yeah, they're in a conference that's not as like what you would assume, but like they're a team I think that a lot of people have underestimated, and I think they got extremely disrespected, and they feel like a team that might take it personally and just go running through a bunch of people. It's
going to be defending 2-time national champions UConn as an 8 seed.
It better not be.
Oh, hey, who's the other team? Gonzaga is an 8, right? What did I say? Bart Torvik. Gonzaga is number 7. 7th best team in the country since February 11th.
All I will say is don't you put that evil on me.
All right. Do you know who the 12th best team in the country is since February 11th?
No, I do not.
All right. I'll give you a clue. They are a 12 seed.
Is it Colorado State?
It is Colorado State. That's my pick.
That would be spicy.
That would be. Oh man, can you
imagine
Memphis, Maryland, and then like I don't know, UConn pulls off an upset so they can do that one, and then
can you imagine a Colorado State Texas Tech Elite 8?
Yes, yeah, but then yes, gimme. Okay.
Like then I could be either happy that Colorado State made the Final Four, another Mountain West team, or we have a Big 12 team in the Final Four.
All right, hold on. Who are okay? So we can't pick all the 11s over 6s yet. Drake, but 11 times an 11 seed has actually been favored over a 6 seed. Okay, now VCU, as we mentioned, BYU is favored over VCU. Missouri's a 6.5 favorite over Drake. We do not know about Illinois and who they'll face between Xavier and Texas, and we do not know about Ole Miss.
Very likely that they'll be favored.
I'm picking. Let me just put it this way: I'm putting North Carolina in my second round. I'm putting North Carolina in my second round. Just prepare for it. I just prepare for it. Since KenPom Analytics began in 2002, every national champion has been top 25 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. So let me update. Let's pull up KenPom real quick. I've got it up and loaded because of course I do. Let's find teams who are top 25 in both offensive and defensive. Well, Duke is 3rd in offense and 4th in defense, so congratulations to Duke. Florida's 1 on offense and 10 in defense. Houston's 10 on offense, 2 on defense. Auburn.
I'm super interested in the Big 12 teams. You've got Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech is not. They're actually Texas Tech's defense is 37th, which I had not realized. That's actually kind of crazy to me.
And there's top 25 in both. There's not very many. It's Duke, Florida, Houston, Auburn, Tennessee, Iowa State. That might be it. Because there's other ones where you're like A&M is like 7 on defense and 44.
Clemson's 24 on offense and 16 on defense.
Ooh.
Yeah, they are going to make you look stupid, aren't they?
They're going to make you look dumb.
That's
dumb
all
as
right.
rocks.
That's all right. I will deal with it.
Mr. Yep, 24-16. You're going to look like a dum-dum. Andy, won't be the first time, won't be the last. It's all right.
I was going to say, I mean, depends on who you talk to. That's my standard look, right?
Okay. Since 2016, 11 seeds are 16-3 against the 6. Folks, North Carolina is going to be in the second round, which means San Diego State's going to win that game because I keep saying it on here, and then they're going to go to the second. And Texas. The point is, oh, no, that would mean they upset Iowa State. No, the second round. They can get the round of 32 and then lose to Iowa State. That's what I need. That's what I want. North Carolina over Ole Miss. Xavier knocks out Texas and Illinois. And then Kentucky. And then, yeah, okay. All right. Hold on.
Look, this is normal bracket Sunday. It's a complete mess. Everything goes way longer than we expected to. And
How long
but it's still a whole lot of fun.
57 minutes. That's fine. I said let's try and keep it to 40, and I knew we'd go an hour.
I would say I knew that wouldn't happen, so
no. Hey,
I was prepared.
We had a lot of complaining to do. This has been fun. I hope it's been educational for you, as always. Listen, I pull these numbers. I use these numbers on my bracket. It doesn't mean my brackets are any good, but I pull this stuff because this is trends. Trends over longer periods of time matter to me. Like, if we're talking about stuff since like 2002, 2009, 2011, like, folks, that's a while ago. Okay, it's 2025. So if you've got trends,
just a little bit,
just pay attention to them. And it's why we love it all. And so go Big 12. And I hope every SEC team loses by the second round. And we don't have to talk about them anymore. So, y'all, we will have a women's bracket conversation with Jamie. So keep an eye out, an ear out for it. We will. Don't forget our bracket challenge with Charlie Hustle on ESPN. Join the 10-12 network group. First and second place, both get a prize. You'll spend some money at Charlie Hustle, some incredibly comfortable stuff from them. The Monday episodes of the show will go on break when all the Big 12 teams are eliminated from the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
So we'll have women's bracket breakdown this week. We'll have a softball conversation on Thursday. And otherwise, y'all, enjoy the games. I know I will. Andy, sir, we'll talk to you again on Monday.
Yep.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.